So we will start with a very important element of an introduction. And also, I would like to know about you to understand which background you come from. So let me take this opportunity to introduce myself. I am Dr. Anubha Walia. Uh, so, after the grad from Lady Shram College, master's in commerce, I actually got a good 14 years of corporate experience. I started my journey with Vista Levelor. They are the market leaders in Venetian and vertical blinds. Uh, Wanted to be a merchant banker, but then, the trainings which, started running in my blood. And there itself in 1996, the intervention of training started with me. From there, I moved towards Moody's. Moody's is a credit rating company and got collaborated with ICL certification. So I happened to taking care of various um, ISO standard certification plus training into the quality front. And I happened to become a black belt in Six Sigma, lean specialist, and 5S champion in India. Followed by ICICI Bank, there I was taking care of trainings in quality to two verticals. And actually, I've handled various part of North, which is Punjab, Haryana, Himachal, Delhi, NCR. So, gamut of 450 people, I was taking care at the regional role on the trainings and quality. Then 2010 onwards, I bid out to the corporate world. I wanted to enhance my self into the, various grabbing the certification for myself and enhancing my knowledge. And from there, I started my own, inception of Prism philosophy. And this is a now good decade-old organization which focuses on to the trainings, OD consultancy, and yoga and wellness. So after having a good amount of exposure into the certification from GDI USA, MindGym UK, Australian Institute of Management Australia, QAI, for the Six Sigma as a change agent, I happened to do my PhD, and the topic was followership style and leadership style. So the world talks about the leadership. I focused on to the followership style too, and it actually helped me realize that one can become a leader if you end up wearing a followership hat. And my association with ISTD is actually from 2010 onwards, So I am, I did my ISTD diploma in 2011, bagged various award of Emerging HRD Thinker Award. And, because the training and consultancy is something what I'm very passionate about, I happen to train 50,000 plus professionals and having an association with good 50 plus blue chip organizations, not only in international, national level, but also at an international platform. So this is a small snippet about me. So it's really good to know, all of you. And for that, I would like you to please, if you can, maybe use the chat box and just share which organization you are from and what role you have currently, so that I can probably grab some set of examples onto the HR analytics topic. So just take a minute. I would request to please use the chat box. Please mention your organization you are currently serving, or which particular role you are having, and if you can also mention from which part of the country you have joined. Okay, so I see Vijendra, you are in Sun Pharma, working in sales. Very nice. You're a sales trainer in L&D
Yeah.
domain. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice, Vijendra. Okay, so Ketu, you are a head in organization effectiveness with SL Propac. Good. And Praveen, you are working as a regional sales manager in Century Ply based out of Delhi, taking care of North and East region. Fantastic, fantastic. All right. I can see others are also writing. So Yamini is an assistant manager and she is with Ma Foundation, a CSR unit. Wow. Priyanka, you have got good 8 years of experience in talent acquisition. Shweta is an instructional designer with Emirates in Mumbai. Anamika is working with PNB Credit for last 5 months and have been a faculty for 5 years. Amazing. Okay, Abhay is from LIC and he's working as a research associate in NBC Mumbai. Arvind, you are an L&D consultant with 14 years of experience, currently working with Conjunct. Walmart retail is being served by Priyanka, very nice. Ketan is in Ahmedabad. You are a freelance consultant doctor, a yoga teacher attached to NGG. Wow. Divya Jyoti is working with Lean Meridian New Delhi as a senior manager HR training. Great, Divya. Sajita is again a part of HR into the senior manager role with Antra Info Solution in Hyderabad. And she's got a good 13 plus years of experience in L&D. Wow. Okay, so I have covered a lot of great professionals here. So Kinshuk is got an 8 years of experience with Invertis University Bareilly. Happens to be a professor in marketing and OB and also heading the marketing and the placement. Wow, very variety of different heads today. I can see people are wearing. Okay, I here see Arvind. He's an independent consultant in software service domain for clients in East Coast US. I have about 16 years of experience with various global firms. Fantastic, Arvind. Amazing. All right. I think this is really nice. So, okay, I have got as of now good amount of people intro. So, those who wish to share later, you can also do that. Thank you. Okay, so welcome you all into the HR analytics. So, you want to follow me in social media platforms. It is with @Anubhavalia and hashtag Anubhavalia again. And as I mentioned, I represent Prisma Philosophy, which is a training OD consultancy and skill academy firm. Our mantra is excellence to eminence. And we believe that each one of us here are excellent and how we can use our potential to reach towards eminence. So this is what we always work on. So you can also follow @Prisma Philosophy. Okay, so certain tips in hygiene for my sessions. We'll be using chat box. I would request to keep yourself on a mute mode, and certain times I would be asking you to unmute and share. There would be some set of pollings that we will be doing, the breakout activities, the case study relevance and exercise, because the subject is on the analytics, it is on the math, stats, and then further analysis, right? So today being the first session, and we have good 8 more sessions to go. So I'll keep today's session focusing on the understanding of how the origination of analytics came in, what are the challenges, and so on, right? So that's the session I'm going to focus on today. We'll understand the overview of HR, understand the concept of HR, people and workforce, what are the various benefits of HR analytics, the history behind analytics, what are the various importance and the challenges and the types of HR analytics that we see. Okay, so if you have any other expectations for today's session or maybe for the future, you can just pen it down on the chat box. That would be really good for me to know. So you can use another minute, and if you have any kind of expectation, please pen it down. So I give you a minute. If you want to unmute yourself, you can share then also. I'm good with that. All right. I see no expectations. Good. Yes, I can see someone has come on the screen. Yes, Anamika, would you like to share any of your expectation if you have for today's session or the future session?
No, I'm so sorry, Anuba. It was just that
Oh,
by mistake I had logged out, so while logging in, the video got started.
okay, no problem, my dear, no problem. I see. Okay, so Priyanka is saying that we will get any reference material or reference books. Yes, my dear, I will be sharing that, and we'll send you the links also. And there is certain activity under the reading also, which will help you to form into the you know case resolution and what are the various type of HR analytics that we use. So that will be surely given to you and the reference of the book also in some time, right?
Ma'am, one thing I just like to add here,
Yes,
in
sir.
our entire course, if we can, do something also into the experiential learning side of the analytics, where we try to
Yeah,
create statistics and try to, break it down, churn it, and create some logical decision making basis that statistics, and create various matrices and try to understand how analytics work rather than just knowing about the cognitive aspects of analytics. That is something I will appreciate.
absolutely point taken, my dear. So as I mentioned, we will be doing a lot of learning, using the learning component on the application base. So there would be a little bit of theory, but then more would be on the application and understand the statistics part of it, some math part of it, and I would be giving you some kind of challenging scenarios and situation, and then accordingly you will be resolving it. So that will be taken care, right?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yamini says, perfect, thank you. Yamini is mentioning that I'm new to HR, so what can I do to understand class well? Nothing, just be attentive in class, and if you have any query question, just unmute yourself and ask me. If you feel that something that there's a topic which is absolutely new to you. So in the HR front, I would be sending and sharing certain links for you all to refer it. Kindly read that. So that will be the best thing, Yamini. Okay. All right. So let's start with the session. Thank you so much. So let's start and understand from you all. Now, anyone can mute. What's in a name? HR, people, or workforce? Anyone? How will you differentiate all three of them?
Ma'am, HR, people, and what is the third thing?
Workforce. What is the difference between HR, people, and workforce? I would request just confirm me if my screen is visible.
Yes, your screen is
Okay.
visible. Uh, I may be wrong, but I feel HR is like trying to take care of the personal development of the employees, whereas people is like putting it uh, too crudely. Like you're just there for the organization, and the organization may not be too much interested. Workforce is, I don't know, workforce would be something like somewhere between HR and people.
Hmm. Okay. So that's one
Giving,
dimension you have given. All right. Point taken on that. Someone else would like to share?
Yeah, ma'am, my understanding about HR, people, and workforce is for any given organization, workforce is the people who are doing day-to-day work and getting things done for the organization. People is like any person who has stake with the company directly or indirectly. They fall
Hmm.
under the people, and HR is basically people who are taking care of all the resources of the company organization, they are
Hmm.
HR.
Very well. Very well. So yes, it's a very simple way. The people who makes up the workforce of an organization turn out to be an HR, human resource, right? So what is analytics? Now let me understand from you. There is one statement I have written, although it's a systematic computational analysis of the data. But let me understand from you, what exactly is analytics?
Analytics is basically playing with data in order to take some decisions. So whenever we have to use the
Hmm.
data in order to make some decision making, analytics come into picture. So we use using various statistics and matrices according to our uses, and that is how we use analytics in order to make decisions.
Very nice. Great thought. Great thought. Anyone else would like to share on this? As per your understanding, what exactly is analytics?
Um, Ma'am, can I try?
Yeah, please try. Please. I would really appreciate.
Whenever we have to take any decision, there are two options like quantitative data and qualitative data.
Okay.
But when you go with quantitative data, that is with numbers and all, you analyze and come to any conclusion. There are assumptions and loopholes, maybe inaccuracies are there even in analytics. But whatever decision we compare to the just assumption based decision or intuition based decision, compared to
Hmm.
that, we derive to some kind of more accurate decision making system by using data for analysis and deriving the decision.
Very nice. Very nicely put it. So you took one step ahead, stating about quantitative and qualitative. Okay. Now this is for everyone to understand. Quantitative data are those data which can be quantified and measured. When I say measured, that means there is a measuring unit which is available. Qualitative data is a variable which you cannot measure. So you have to convert the qualitative into the quantitative approach. Okay. So we will be talking about this in a very detailed manner in our future session. But thanks for sharing this and giving these two words, because this is going to be very commonly used. So let's understand the analytics part. You will see that no, so analytics is used for the discovery, interpretation, and communication of a meaningful pattern of a data. So in a graph, if you will see the data pointers is, showcasing on an increasing trend. So you end up realizing the pattern of the data, right? So well applying data patterns towards the effective decision making is the key. So there is something, we have data point, we use it to understand, analyze it, and then use it for the decision making. So in other words, very simply, I'll put it across. Analytics can be understood, as a connection between the data and effective decision making within the organization. So especially valuable in the areas, which are rich recorded information. Analytics relies on various simultaneous application of stats, computer programming, ops research. We also call it operation research to quantify the performance. So you will find that organizations may apply analytics to business data to describe, predict, and improve business performance. So these specifically the areas with the analytics, which will include predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics, enterprise decision making, descriptive analytics, cognitive analytics. Now these are very, very heavy words, or probably the words you would have heard it for the first time. But mostly when I say in this descriptive analytics, this is means I am talking about with the data, work on mean, median, mode, standard deviation, correlation, regression. That is descriptive analytics. Predictive analysis, based on the data, I predict this would have happened. And what would have happened? We work towards a prescriptive analytics. That is, we prescribe that based on the data, what we realize is going to be this. So we have to work on the X thing, that is a decision. So that becomes prescriptive analytics, right? So you will find that the big data analytics, retail analytics, supply chain analytics, there is something called a store assortment, um, stock keeping unit. Okay, these are the ones where we work towards the optimization, marketing mix modeling, web analytics, calls analytics, speech analysis, sales force sizing, and optimizing the price, promotion modeling, predictive science. There is something called graph analytics, credit risk analysis, fraud analysis. So this analysis becomes very insightful into the analytics space. So analytics actually require extensive computation because of the data point, and you will work on the algorithm by using some set of softwares, and where you can harness the most current method in the computer science, statistics, and math. So this is what the analytics actually comes in place. So to put it very simply here is, when I talk about HR, I say people analytics. But let's remove people from here. It is nothing but it's a discovery, interpretation, and communication of a meaningful pattern of the people related data. So this is what here I remove people related and I say just a pattern of data I observe. So in the current competitive environment, there are great amount of talented people who are working on these valuable assets. So what I have observed is there are during the last half a decade, or almost like touching 8 years, large investments were put into the tools and information systems to manage the performance, hiring, compliance, and employees development, in order to enhance their capabilities and increase the effectiveness. So using data which is produced by using the tools and the systems actually gets implemented into the enterprise of HR department. And you will see that a lot of digital transformation processes do take things one step further by accompanying the reporting with the basic analytics of HR metrics. And that's why you will hear a lot of people are talking this word called HR metrics and working on the same thing. So you will find that there are usually, they go through the various data from the several periods to assess the positive and the negative trends and to create the benchmark comparing the performance against the competitors. So the biggest struggle what I have seen is in achieving the better utilization of data resources. Now, this is the biggest challenge I've seen. So really, HR or the people really don't know how to utilize the data. And information systems are inefficient use of data. So asking the wrong question, feeding the wrong question in a wrong manner, and lack of analytical ability in the HR. This is another challenge. So HR departments are in a need for analytical capable people. So let me put it in a very simple manner. Okay. So let's say we all 27 of us are working in an organization, and and let's say I am the boss with Anamika. So Anamika is handling marketing, Anubha is handling HR. And our CEO, the head, said that I want to get the information about the people working in an organization, about every past information they have. So which college they are from, how many number of experience they have, which states do they belong to, and so on, right? So what happens is we get one Excel sheet made. So I and Anamika says, okay, let's make this Excel sheet and we'll ask the people to fill it up. And we will designate, let's say, one person, Shweta. So Shweta ko bola ki why don't you handle this? And Suketu was given by Anamika. So Shweta and Suketu को टास्क दे दिया गया. अब देखिए क्या होता है. नेम लिख लिया, नो प्रॉब्लम. जैसे ही डेट ऑफ बर्थ की बारी आई, श्वेता is writing the date of birth 12031974. So this is the way she is writing. Whereas when I talk about Suketu, he's writing in 12, 1, 2, March, MAR, and then apostrophe S and 74. Both are right. Okay. The same way, number of years of experience. Okay. So I wrote, Shweta writes 12 plus, and Suketu writes 12 greater than. Now, what I'm trying to say here is there is no standardization. Because the standardization is not there, we HR people go in a big troublesome. Correcting the data takes the maximum time. So the first thumb rule is to have the right analytical approach by using the correct way of feeding the data. How will you feed the data into the software? So that standardization is very, very important. So let's take another step ahead. Let me ask, what is the difference between analytics and analysis? Anyone, please unmute.
Ma'am, may I?
Please, absolutely.
Yeah, ma'am, as per my understanding, analysis leads to analytics. I mean, the moment the things, I mean, when we analyze something and put it in figures or put it into some concrete, what do you say, outcome, it is what analytics is. I mean, the whole process involves analysis. That is what my understanding is. Analysis, I mean, analytics is the macro term. Analysis is just a part of it.
Okay. Like that thought. Thank you, Bhumi, for this. Yes.
Being skilled in doing analysis is called analytics.
Okay. Very nice insight. Okay. Thanks, Yamini.
Ma'am, analysis is process, while analytics is a report or say outcome.
Okay. So you are saying process versus outcome. Okay. So
Yes.
rightly another,
when we means analyze in doing analysis, we infer something, so that gives a meaning. So means we take help of many tools, or sometimes it may be simple interpretation. Means when we prepare a chart, that will be analysis. So if we are able to derive some meaning, then that report will be called analytics.
Okay. Good. Nice insight, Abhijit. Very good. So let's understand. Let's put deep dive into it. Analysis is focused on understanding the past, what happened, and why it happened. Whereas analytics focuses on why it happened and what will happen in future. So understanding the difference between both is very, very important. I am not here to teach you analysis, but we use analysis, which we call it descriptive analysis, to work towards analytics to know why it happened. People leaving organization, why it is happening. New customers have started walking into the store. Why did that happen? And what will happen if there is a change? So we know that the median of Indian population is 29 years of age. That's the median age. What will happen in future? Okay. So data analytics is I'll say a multidisciplinary field. So there is an extensive use of computer skills, math, stats, and the use of descriptive techniques, predictive models to get the best of the knowledge. So the insights from the data are actually used, to recommend actions and to guide decision making. So analytics is not so much concerned with individual analysis, but with the entire methodology. So there is an increasing use of term advanced analytics, typically used to describe the techniques aspect of analytics. Specifically, when I say emerging fields such as machine learning, decision tree, logistic regression, linear to multiple regression analysis, classification to predictive modeling. So you will see that a lot of machine learning techniques like we use specifically in the cluster analysis, you would have heard also cluster analysis, principal component analysis, segmentation profile analysis, association analysis. Now these are the not just word, so these people who have done use the stats, use the various data points just to understand, and you will find that they have been working on such kind of things. So these, in this manner, you will find, to put it in a very simplistic manner, analysis and analytics plays very important role in our life. And rightly said that, yes, I'm saying one is about the past, analytics is all about the future. And then there is another element I would like to understand from you. What is the difference between HR analytics versus people analytics versus workforce analysis? So we've already understood the HR, people, and workforce. Now let's understand how will you differentiate HR analytics with people analytics with workforce analytics? Yes, all to you. Anyone? I'm actually making you all think, that's how it will engrave in your knowledge.
Ma'am, could you please repeat the question? Because I'm sorry, I just got disconnected.
Oh, so sorry. No problem. I just asked, what is the difference between HR analytics, people analytics, and workforce analytics?
All right, thank you.
Ma'am, when we talk about HR analytics, it's a very broad term and it covers each and everything that HR does. It talks about all the analytical analysis regarding the recruitment, hiring, that competency management, the PMS, HRIS, then attrition. So each and everything that has to do with the organization, where human capital or human resource comes into picture, it is like HR analytics. When we talk about people analytics, it is a part of the, it is a subset of that HR analytics where things relevant to people, they are basically taken as data and they are interpreted and analyzed, like competency of employees in an organization. When they are monitored, they are data that is prepared, it will actually fall under people analytics. Another example is like succession planning, let's say. Succession planning is again relevant to specific people, so it is people oriented. So any data which is more of people oriented and that has to do with the employees of the organization, they are that is the people analytics, where the analysis of the people inside the organization is done for the better decision making. Then when we talk about workforce analytics, workforce is like in each organization there are various categories of people who are working. Some can be managers, some can be in first line managers, some can be like shop floor workers, and how futuristic needs could actually be met. So a data related to that, it is prepared and it is analyzed, like how it will be utilized, what are the current scenario, what is the future scenario, and how we can deal with things. I guess all the interpretation based for this falls under workforce analytics.
Yeah, very nicely shared. Very nicely shared. So let's put it in this manner. HR analytics, I'm just reading out on the slide right now. A branch of analytics tasked exclusively with matrix of the HR function. It covers the functions like training expense per staff, time duration until promotion, time to engage talent, and so on. So that's an HR analytics, and rightly said by the sir. People analytics is more to do with the people, right? It captures not only the employees of an organization, but also the customers of an organization. So both internal and external customers get used. When I talk about workforce analytics, it is nothing but specifically addresses the employees of the business, which concerns like remote employees on staff, on-site staff, freelancers, gig workers, other personnel employed into the various capacities. And there we use the various kind of statistical methods. Okay, so you will find that from the past to the current, the various trends has been used, right? And initially, we used to work on the workforce analytics, move towards the HR analytics, and currently the people analytics has actually taken a lot of relevance and importance because they are talking on a bigger picture. Now, when I talk about analytics in HR, you will find that let's understand how this business analytics came in the forefront, right? So there was an industrial economy. From there, we moved towards the financial economy, customer economy, and finally, the current is the talent economy. Now, when I talk about industrial economy, you will find that because we're talking about all into the industry related, so logistics, budgeting analysis, integrated supply chains, ERP financial modeling was lot into the requirement, and people were focusing onto the financial logistics in a very detailed manner. This was in good 60s, 50s, 60s. Then, in the time of 70s and 80s, you will identify that we have moved from the industrial to the financial economy. That means I also wanted to know the financial analytics in a very detailed manner. And that's why you will find that a lot of, financial sector was actually coming in a very different level. And then the customer orientation, which is another, became a buzzword in 80s onward. And you will find that we started working on customer analytics thanks to the, how social media came into being, and we really started working and understanding how analytics has started, taking place, and how we can actually segment our, different set of customers based on the shopping basket, understand the web behavior analytics, and then slowly and gradually started predicting the customer behavior. You will see a very good example here when, the Black Friday, which happens. And in that, they actually predicted that this particular year, although it was a COVID time, but they predicted that they will be touching trillions of business. And that happened on Black Friday. So only on the aspect of the prediction of customer behaviors during the COVID time, they worked on it, and they realized that what are the maximum products which will be bought by the customers. And then we move towards the talent economy. Now the talent worked on, which all kind of recruitment do I need to do? What is my focus? What is the performance management I have to work on? How I need to manage the talent, ensuring the employee engagement, and can I arrange and engage talent with business together? Can they drive the business analysis? And finally, understand how I can use the talent model for the HR analytics. So that is how the talent and leadership started coming in place. So you'll find that HR analytics, as rightly said, that it is based on data. So HR analytics, you'll find it is nothing but where you gather the data, you organize the data, you analyze that data. It could be from the recruitment side, talent management side, employee engagement, performance, retention, and so on. So there are various types of HR software and technology that gets used just, to meet the objective, which is, are they making sense of this data, and it turns into the valuable insight, right? So that's what HR analytics. So you will find that we start getting the data, and we can generate the data in an organization. And, and then end of the day, we start creating a lot of reports. So can you tell me from which all data we can generate in an organization? You must be generating a data, Can you just pen down or just unmute and share? You can use a chat box, or you can unmute yourself and share. Which all data we generate in an organization? Anyone?
Ma'am, depending upon the organization, the data can be bit different, but more or less, most of the data is same. Like, let's say if I consider an organization, starting from the employees, their recruitment, hiring, then their retention management, their monitoring, that actually creates a lot of data. Then the performance of each employee, that creates a lot of data. Then the absenteeism or the attendance of each individual and leave,
Very
that is again
true.
another piece of data. Then basis the performance, the salaries, and the rewards, that actually forms the another set of data. Then you know, let's say we talk about succession planning or the readiness of organization for certain level in future, that is again another set of data. When we
Very
talk
good.
about talent management, what are the talent we are actually going to require, what is the competency that we have at the present time, what are the competencies which we may actually want to have in the coming period of time. Then these are all actually, they form a separate set of data. So
Very
each and
good.
everything that happens in an organization on a daily basis, even the packet that comes, the sales, the marketing, each and every function they generate, like anything that happens within that function, that is actually a piece of data which can actually serve as an information for the future decision making.
Superb, Arvind. Very nicely articulated about the which all data we generate. And rightly said, let's understand. And I was just reading in the chat box, Yami saying that, I'm sorry, Vijendra is saying sales data, growth of organization, training data. Sajita, attrition report, headcount report. Priyanka, we're talking about attrition data again, and hiring channel mix. Very nice. Mm, Vijendra talking about organization
In fact, would
performance.
be every,
Hmm? Yeah. So Yami talking
yeah.
about turnover, absenteeism, promotion, accident injuries, exit interviews, performance appraisals, and reviews. Very nicely shared. Yes.
Ma'am, can I say something?
Yeah, please, please.
It's not only the data that is pertaining to the HR that the organization would be generating. Every small department, every office, every branch, every day, every hour would be generating different type of data, which would be
Hmm.
leading to different kind of analysis. It's not necessarily only to the HR. We would also be generating data pertaining to the customers or also to the sales. In fact, like I am working with a bank, so I am also generating data as to what is my profile of the customers or what kind of advances I'm making. Am I making
Yeah.
it into retail or MSME or large corporate? Am I doing a lot of investments? Am I doing into treasury? Where my profit is coming from? So every department is generating data, which is going to lead to different kind of inferences and analysis.
Beautiful. Rightly shared. Yeah.
Ma'am, I wanted to say, add something to this. Correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong. The whole branch of, I mean, the new branches that are coming up, right from artificial intelligence to market intelligence to business intelligence, all these are, they require this analysis. Without
Hmm.
analysis, there cannot be this intelligence. What do you define intelligence as? It has to be derived from something, right? So there is this analytics at the base of it that gave rise to all these new what do you say career paths.
Very nice. Very, very rightly said. So we'll be talking about what are the various career options which are there related to the analytics. So rightly shared. Thank
And one
you,
more thing I
Arvind.
would like to add here.
Yeah, please.
uh,
Yeah.
the biggest area where analytics is used widely, mostly after 2000, year 2000, is the behavior of human beings. We act as a human being, we have different set of behaviors, and we behave in
Yes.
society, on market, in different workplaces. So Google being one of the place which actually tracks and notes down each and every activity that we do in our day-to-day life, and it
Yes.
actually generates like millions of terabytes of data every day. And we would actually be amazed to know that Google, the data servers, they might be knowing much more than what we know about ourselves, about our billings, about our medicines, about our diseases, to each and everything that happens with our life and with anything, any realities or any set of actions which even we might have forgot in our lifespan, but they have
No,
actually the
very true.
data relevant to that.
Very,
So
very true. Rightly said. Rightly
that's the
said.
strength of data.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the
even
strength
you.
of data. They say that Alexa would be knowing more about you
Yeah,
than you
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah,
I was
now since the homes are actually turning into smart homes, they actually try to intercept each and everything that comes into home. And I don't know how much data they might be storing each and every day from different houses. Apart from that, even the uh, cameras we are using for monitoring, they are also generating millions of terabytes of data globally.
Very true. So rightly said, Arvind. So indeed, I mean, the data can be generated, and the other group members also mentioned about it is not only related to the HR, but every aspect. Even small snippets is a big element. It has a relevance of it. Even whether you're talking about the customer data or whether you're talking about the buying behavior, even for that matter, the travel expenses, the reviews, the engagement survey, the compensations, these are all becomes a very important aspect into the data generation. So let's try and understand and build on it furthermore. We explore the data. There is a logic for the logical reasoning and the analytical part to it. So now let me understand from you, what is the difference between data, metrics, and analytics? Anyone? The difference between data, metrics, and analysis. Who would like to share?
Matrix is something where we put or arrange the data
Hmm.
depending on the variables we want to compare or
Hmm.
the relationship between the variables we want to know. Where
Hmm.
analysis is something from that matrices we analyze and derive to some conclusions.
Hmm. Okay. Nice thought. Someone else?
So data is basically the raw data that you gather from different sources. So for example, if I talk about the trading data, then you just go into
Hmm.
the learning system and you pull out, let's say, a big report just to see what all people are consuming. Then using that
Hmm.
data, you create a report. So which is more like a matrix. So you're not analyzing it, you're just checking how many courses somebody has taken, how many videos, how many
Hmm.
YouTubes, and many more
Hmm.
such things. But when we talk about analytics, so it is more about what actually, the conclusion you are drawing using that data. So when it comes to analyzing it, so you want to see what actually people are consuming. It's not about seeing what they are, but you're trying to analyze something. So what is it that they like more? What is it that they are not liking it? Then using this, you are taking decisions. So where you need to spend more money, where you need to spend more time for your employees. So this is basically the analytics part.
Right. Very nice. Very nice. So let's understand here, right? So when I say employee turnover is 10%, right? That is data. 10% of students have passed or failed in maths. It's a data. Matrix is there is a 4% rise in attrition rate on the year-on-year basis. The sales have increased by 33% on year-on-year basis. That's a matrix. Analytics is nothing but when we have noticed a sharp increase in attrition rate related to a specific manager or maybe change in the process. That is analytics. So what happens basically here is, I will just put it in a very simplistic manner here. Data is, the first step, right? And if I don't have data, it will not work. So, in this, what I do is you hear a lot about data, matrix, analytics. So all the terms are all the time, it is a big selling point for my company Prism Philosophy, especially for the solutions we have to give. So every time I hear it, the word seems, interchangeable and fail to properly define the meaning and the value of each. Why? Let's understand this. Um, I would say it is not about data metrics analytics, which is incredibly important. I know, I believe they are, but challenge is not truly understanding of what it means to be a data driven and what you should be looking to achieve with this knowledge. Let's start with the data. So when I talk about data, we are talking about from one and zeros. The single input that you enter your data warehouse for use in tracking the success. It could be related to your recruitment strategy, marketing campaigns, selling element. It depends on that. So we are not at a point of taking about the forward facing measures. So here we need to figure it out how, when we think of the data, we need to focus on the three main areas. How it is captured. Now this affects the consistent accuracy, which I just mentioned in some time back, right? So you need to ensure that the data is captured in the same manner, in the same way, based on the same criteria which has been decided. If this isn't occurring correctly, you will be hard pressed to get much value from the data you are capturing. Okay, so that is the first one, is how do you capture. The second is how it is stored. Now, storage of data may be little boring, to talk about when we're talking about in the practice. So how you set up and execute your data structure, it affects your ability to report on the data. So you need to ensure that you store the data in the most efficient way, which can affect the access, the speed at which you can access and utilize the data for the integral to a better decision making. So first one, as I mentioned, is how do you capture? Second is how it is stored. Third is it comprehensive? So when your data capturing, what you have done, you wanted to ensure that you are capturing the data across your talent acquisition strategy. Just for an example, is just not doing a piecemeal task. You also want to make sure that there is no biases in your data, specifically towards the channel or the source. Sorry for that. Or the data, which takes probably agnostic view to what is reporting on. So data is the first step to a fact-driven strategy. It is an integral, and you understand how the technology you use to capture, to store, and to report on the data. The second one is metrics. Now, let's take an example of a recruitment. Okay? So we have a lot of metrics, from time to fill, cost per hire, source of hire, candidate drop off, and so on. There are a lot of metrics that you can be used. But what are the metrics and what is their value to the recruiting strategy is a question mark. So once you have the data, it's time to begin, taking a look at the count and simple ratio when we get from the data we actually capture. So the focus of the metric is again on the three main areas. Count in real time. So metrics done right will provide you with the updated count of action in real time. Now, from page views to the contacts in the CRM to the application to a qualified candidate to hire, you should have a representative metrics view of your the funnel that start with a simple count across all the actions, for what you are doing. So one is, as I said, counts in real time. Second is ratio the matters. So matrix starts as count, but the secondary value is in the simple ratio between two data points. So for instance, candidate drop off in the relationship between the amount of candidates that complete one step to the ones that complete the next step, right? So that is the variation. So these are the simple measures, but can give you an accurate and easy snapshot of what's happening in the strategy. Third one is granular and comprehensive. So time to fill and from ratio the matters to the granular and comprehensive. Any good matrix will be provided in a real time and will be available to you on both on the job level as well as aggregate data level. Now, for an instance, you should have the recruiter which can use to determine the next action on filling a job today, as well as metrics on filling data set to understand more strategic plan down the road. So this is all part of metrics. So we talked about data, we talked about metrics. Now let's understand analytics. Now, when I say, when we meet and understand any discussion that we're doing, where we get the deepest in our quest for knowledge, so big data analytics on, is the most talked about common terminology. So before I get started, I just want to point out the fact that if you don't have data and metrics locked down, analytics are a moot point. You don't just leap all the ways to analytics. It's a hop, which we call it data, skip, which is a metrics, and a jump, which is analytics. To truly understand in a very simple manner. So analytics are a highest level of understanding. It's taking the matrix that you are able to display and put them, through a best of the solutions and the understanding. So that is why, we say analytics are the nirvana. It's all around how you can take the data set and matrix at your disposal. Okay, so this is how it goes. Metrics are a simple relationship. Analytics are striving to provide a simple insight from more complex relationships across the multiple inputs. So that is why when you look into the analytics, again, there are three main area of focus. First one is dashboard. And I'm sure every individual who's a part of today's ISTD session, in your organization, in your department, you would be working on dashboard. It is really an Excel to, analytics. You need to be, first, you should be able to have the access to all your metrics in such, in an easy to use dashboard. Now, if you can't manipulate all your data across multiple factors, you won't be able to get into the benefit of analytics. And you always work on the lot of hit and trial and error in figuring it out. So the dashboard becomes one. The second one is asking the right questions. The biggest question around analytics is where to start. Basically, what should be measured and test. If you don't start with the right questions and create the assumption to the test, you will be spinning over the wheel with what could be truly valuable insight. So picking a direction to integral to figuring it out and learning more about your business and strategy is what is important, and that's why they say ask the right question. And finally, the third one is predictive analytics. It's a buzzword, alert, I would say, but this is where we are moving as an industry. So how do we take all the data and metrics at our disposal and is used to for a better predict for the future? So all the three of them, when I talk about dashboard, when I talk about asking the right question, and when I'm talking about the predictive analytics, it's really important to understand, right? So let me understand. I see a chat box. Okay, it's about this. So he's sharing it. All right. So let's move ahead further. So, you will find various companies which are using analytics in HR are Microsoft, Accenture, Oracle, Infosys, Infotech, Corbase, Bandcamp, Intergraph, IBM, Satyam, and so on, Cognizant, Aon, Honeywell, Nokia. The key ingredients to getting started, as I've already mentioned, are nothing but the data metrics pattern, the most important people to the question, and conversation decision making. So let me give you some example of how these organizations are using analytics. To give you an example of Google, they use analytics for evaluating hiring process. So data from thousands of job interviews gets conducted, comparison of interviews, evaluation of candidates, alongside with their performance gets analyzed by Google. I know about Shell, identification of good idea generation. So the database of ideas put forward by about 1,500 employees over a number of years was analyzed. So the original idea generated were asked to play some video games designed by, I remember, a neuroscientist whose aim was just to test human potential. Now the game results were checked against the real world results of the ideas proposed. So that's how the Shell has been able to identify the people with the various tendencies to have the best of the ideas. I'll give you another example of Xerox, increasing employee retention. So they unveiled the insight that are simple but effective. They carried out an extensive data analysis on its customer service employees. So actually the results were generated. It showed that the longest serving employees were those who lived close to the company's office and had access to the transportation that was reliable. This was the analysis based got into it. So we've already discussed a deep dive into the HR matrix and HR analytics, but yes, to give you further more insight, HR metrics is more with the tangible data. It's easy to measure. Analytics is concerned with the intangible data and measures, but is of a high value. It gives a lot of information in the HR metrics. There's a lot of insider perspective, whereas analytics is working for both past and the present data, and you will have an outside point of view, right? So when we talk about the history of analytics, so what happened was basically there was a person called Taylor. You must be knowing Frederick W. Taylor. He was a leading authority in human resource, crafted the concept of scientific management, which built on the four cardinal principles. And these principles were the use of systematic techniques which based on the scientific study of scientific selection, training, and development of the personnel. So the detailed supervisory which went into it, and they worked with a lot of ultimate goal, and the process was to improve the workers' condition, and thus it actually increased the production based on the minute by minute analysis of the production per task. So this goes down on the record as one of the first known cases in which HR analytics was applied. Now, after the peace was restored in the two destructive global conflicts, that was World War I and World War II, organization actually brought on board HR personnel. So the another aspect was the management practice, which was interwoven with the organizational behavior and the social science. And then they became the leading authorities. And this was the example which was given by the Jack Fitz, who wrote the book also called How to Measure Human Resource Management. And I'm talking about in 1984. And that is how in the future, the growth of HR analytics fueled by I would say the advent of internet becoming widespread at the global space post World War II, and the modern era came in. And now the artificial intelligence, machine learning, and visualization tool actually came in, right? So that's the basic aspect you will find. And then it had a lot of importance of HR analytics. It was primarily based on data, as I mentioned. So it enables the HR practitioner to collate, organize, and analyze the HR data, which is related to such as recruiting, managing, engaging, retaining the top talent, for a better decision making. And the large volume of data which are created, on a daily basis by HR department. We use the software tools and the technologies, and then I'll just request to please put yourself in a mute mode. So improves HR performance. So here, this is one of the major factor which the decision making becomes easy, and then we'll have we can identify the best performing talent. We can identify the attrition case. I'll just mute the person. Just allow me a second. Okay. Sorry for this interruption. Okay. Then I'm talking about, identifying an attrition and its cause. You can actually employ the data which can really reveal and expose the departmental units suffering from maximum attrition, pattern of attrition. What are the commonalities and isolate root cause, to it. When you talk about predict in demand skills and position within the organization, you will find that the data can help you to as a practitioner, you can determine the accurately skills and positional requirements within your organization setup. Okay, then you can predict in demand skills and position within the organization. So here you again work on this aspect, and then transformation the role of HR as a strategic partner. So, in this, you influence the personal matters within our organization. You just do that because you employ data grants valuable integrity and thus, empower human resource tremendously. So you can actually furnish the company's executive with the accurate, tested, verifiable data just to back up on the policies for the staff recruitment, retention, and engagement. So you will find a lot of insights coming up into it. And then you'll find the various benefits of HR analytics, So human resource, which has been, sorry for this, which has been, found as a key detriment, moving a company from or the level of meritocracy to the one of the prime excellence and benefits. It can actually, increase the need of the data and analyze the tool of the HR to make the better HR decisions. Better quality to hire is one of the HR analytics benefits, you will find. You will see the running machine learning algorithm on the job seekers data allows companies to actually identify the best matching talent for a vacant position, right? Then a vital benefit of HR metrics and analytics in employee retention. So the way I talked about the employee data, recruiters can recognize a pattern of high performing employees, and accordingly you can modify the employees hiring and the retention strategy. We have workforce analytics. In this, the application can actually provide a unique point to HR department to validate its importance and its role as a strategic partner as a business performance. So you as a HR professional can actually provide the business leaders with the verifiable data to back their talent, hiring, retention, engagement policies, and so on. So you will find that yes, there are certain set of challenges with the importance and benefits, So it is true that the various HR tools which are being used today, they churn out huge amount of data every day, but without the clarity of how the data can be useful for a particular decision making, it is very difficult to tap into the true power of HR analytics. So one of the globe is facing onto the HR analytics challenges is multiple source of data. Now that's the biggest problem. So with different HR tools catering to different functions of HR, so there are too many sources of data working in isolation. So whether it is your HR information system, it could be related to the applicant tracking system or for the learning management system or an employee referral software, or for that matter, the tool which creates their own data or integrating all other sources is a major, major challenge. And you will also find the next one is lack of skills and training. So you will find it is true that the various data scientists are at the forefront of the data and analytics revolution. But hiring the managers, even the CHRO, they have a preconceived notion that HR departments have a little or a no role to play in analyzing the data. So, considering the technicalities involved, they hesitate to learn and implement these tools. So, my suggestion here is that you take this as an opportunity, and at least in the sessions you will actually learn and start applying in your organization. That's really really important. And with these challenges, there are some different type of HR analytics, uh, you know, disadvantages also. And I'll talk about the different types of HR analytics sometime. But disadvantages are also something which is, you know, in a current scenario, you will find they deal with a huge amount of sensitive and confidential data. So the security and the privacy are the two major concerns, guys. So ensure that your data is secure and there is a privacy which has been maintained. Data theft is very common, you will find. And when you have to maintain the data, you have to lead a greater cost, and the cost becomes another challenge. And then the another aspect is when you have a data, how to implement it. So there's another challenge to it. So these are the certain disadvantages which I thought of sharing before penning and sharing about the different types of HR analytics we have been using. So as you can see, cultural analytics. So organizational cultural analytics, when we talk about the culture, which refers to the unspoken norms governing conduct, principles, patterns of a human behavior that actually prevails in an organization setting. So it is, very important, a proper to say that organizational culture analytics is a process of judging and a better understanding of how your workforce culture is currently, and then accurately understand that it enables how to track noticeable changes. So consequently, you can detect early sign of cultural becoming unpleasant. So that's how you use it. The second one is capacity. Capacity analytics are, it does impact revenue. I'm being very candid here. So it enables you to confirm how operationally efficient your workforce is. Now, to find out how effective and efficient your workforce is, company may specialize in a different analysis which can reveal the bulk of the time on meetings rather than the main task of uh, role that they're performing. So that's a very good way to figure it out, the capacity analysis. Employee churn analytics, So this is a process where you can determine your labor force turnover rate. So analysis of data, which is futuristic in this regard, it can actually predict future trends, reduce staff attrition, and what you can do is you can collect the data from the past, which we also call it historical employee churn. You state in a detail the employee churn rate from the inception of employment. So you will be able to properly determine the employee churn both from the predictive point of view, and the historical churn data becomes very relevant here. We have a leadership analytics, to figure it out, the entire spectrum of the strength and deficiencies of an individual. An essential set of assessment which can be carried out, because poor leadership is virtually a zero leadership, and it results in a loss of revenue and a loss of time and employee churn. So work on leadership analytics, and then we have capability analytics, So for this, we figure it out and work on the capability analytics. We get to know who are of full potential and can be retained in an organization. And as I'm said that even in the capability analytics, you can use both quantitative and qualitative research. You can use a combination of methods like polling, focus group, survey, demographic research, and so on. So this is how the set of things works on the types of analytics. Just to give you an idea into the another simpler one of into the retention, training, service delivery, talent acquisition, and what we also say in the aspect of strategy. So, we use in the retention rate, voluntary versus involuntary. Same way in the training, full-time equivalent. Let me ask any one of you, what is full-time equivalent? How do you calculate? Can anyone tell me? FTE, full-time equivalent. Anyone?
So I don't know, I mean, if I'm accurate, but it's as per my organization, it is 32 hours per employee. Just,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, great. So that's a nice, I mean, you talked about your organization. FTE is hours worked by one employee on a full-time basis. So the concept is used to convert the hours worked by several part-time employees into the hours worked by a full-time employee. So on an annual basis, the FT is considered to be 2080 hours, which can be calculated as how 8 hours per day into 5 days per week. So imagine you run a spinner company with 15 salaried employees and 10 part-time employees. So your salaried staff member works 40 into 15. Okay. As I said, 8 5s are 40, right? So 40 into 15, which turns out to be 600 hours a week. And your 10 part-time employees work, let's say 20 into 10, which turns out to be 200 hours. So the hypothetical situation for FTE would be 800, which was your full-time employee, divided by the 40, which was your salaried staff, turns out to be your 20 full-time equivalent. Okay. So guys, why I'm talked about this, it's very important. You should be knowing such set of formulas when you are working onto the analytics, and that's how you will work and get to know onto the various HR periphery and taking it forward. Are we good? All right, so this way we are coming to an end of the session. So just to give you a perspective, the analytics fits into the HR delivery mode, as we know that there is a business partnering, center of excellence, and shared services. For all three, let's say we have HR head. HR head handles, the different business unit of HR, compensation, benefit, recruitment, selection. So analytics also becomes a part under his role. So that's how the entire delivery model looks like. And why HR analytics? Definitely, there is a very simple 4 things. We measure and manage. We talk about the return on investment. We talk about the performance improvement. We link business objectives with the people strategies. So that is a very simple thing why HR analytics becomes so very important in our life. Okay, so we've already talked about this operations and operation performance. Will not go into it, and the challenges also. So one of the challenges here, I'll just pen it, share it with all of you again. Establishing a relationship between the action and insight of the return on the investment, data cleansing, privacy, quality of data, inability to identify the most important data versus the voluminous data, skilled pool of talent capable of data collection, management, and reporting, and achieving the executive leadership buying in for importance of HR analytics are the biggest challenge which has been seen. And definitely the premium quality HR technologies for data tracking. So this we actually shared some time back. Okay, so thank you so much. So that's me. You can reach out to me anytime. I'm there in various social media platforms. And you can reach out to me on my mail, anubhavali@gmail.com. My credentials are already there. So you can get connected with me on LinkedIn, FB, Facebook, Twitter, WordPress, So this was a small intro session today we planned and then we'll further go deep dive into the HR analytics. Okay, so any query, any question now? Let me see what's the time. Oh, it's 7:26. We are just 4 minutes away to close the session. Yeah.
Ma'am, I have one question related to data security, which is one of the biggest threat in the analytics. Uh, any organization today hires a lot of consultants, and while they hire a lot of consultants, they have to expose a lot of their data, which could be very private and which could actually, reveal a lot of things about lot of strategic, information about the organization. So I don't know if HR, whenever they actually deal with any organization, do they actually follow some sort of SLAs,
Yes.
which is service level agreements, where they cannot reveal? Because I understood from strategy when I was actually doing the strategy paper that the external consultants, they guide different type of organizations, and while benchmarking with the ones which are the market leaders, what they do is they use their data, to create a benchmark for certain different organizations. So I mean, what I understand is, again, when we actually hire external consultants, and when they actually tell that, we are going to use our experiences, these experiences actually somewhere, they breach data of their previous customers, which they have worked with prior. Is there a way to deal with it? Because let's say if you are the market leader in any segment, and if someone else wants to, know about your organization, and they want to benchmark your organization for their growth and try to create a strategy basis, I mean, let's say for training and development to meet the market needs in future, how do you actually try to secure your data? I mean, do you not allow any private consultants to enter, in your organization, or what type of SLAs you try to incorporate with the external consultants, so that to ensure that they do not breach your data?
So honestly, so first very important here is you already talked about the what we call it, SLA. So organization have to have a very strong SLA, with the external consultant. And usually the best practice I would say is kindly just share the data which for which you are actually hiring the consultant for. Don't share the entire data just for a heck. Suppose you're working on the talent management, you don't have to work and give the data of the external customers and behavior. So this is where you have to figure it out, an important aspect. Rest is, yes, you will find that there is a proper involvement of the the HR, signing a contract with them, and you cannot misuse the data. And if you are caught, there is a really big punishment involved to it. So that's another one you will find. So anyhow, so as I mentioned, very important here is to work on the what we call it, the SLA. So just figure it out, the SLA aspect. That's the
Ma'am,
only
one
thing
thing,
I can say.
one thing really dangerous I also found about the Indian organizations is mostly all, even the bigger organizations in India, they store their data in data servers which are located somewhere in the US or the European countries, because of the bandwidth issues. And since your data physically resides on a data server which is not in your own country, there is no means that you can talk about even security, because your data is in hands of someone else, and they can use it anytime. Even when we actually heard about, like, the security cameras which are manufactured by organizations in China, or even the Android phones which are manufactured by, the Android the system, it is actually being controlled by people outside India. So we do not even know what this Android is going to capture from our phone from day to day our activities. And we talk about, security, but we are actually making ourselves insecure every moment of time that we live.
I know, very true, rightly said by you, rightly said. But nevertheless, that's the learning. We all have to understand the gamut of it and have to take care for the future. How to use a data point. So thanks for sharing that.
Right.
Great. So I had a question from somebody asking which books you can read on. I have given you, one is People Analytics for Dummies. The second one is Predictive HR Analytics by Dr. Martin. I've also given you one of the link of my book, which is Fundamental of Research on, so you can pick up these books and you can always refer them, right?
Anuba, hi, Suketu here.
Yes,
Uh,
Suketu.
I have a fundamental question.
Yeah.
For most of the organizations, Indian organizations, the data with respect to people is not as big as you have, supply chain or sales or operations data. So it's not that much where, where for other functions, there are certain packages of analytics which they use.
Hmm.
Second, as Arvind also touched upon the confidentiality part of the data. So most of the analysis happens is basically like in my organization we do it on an Excel sheet. So there is analysis which happens. Whatever you mentioned as fundamental, that happens, but there is no structured, or there's a package which we follow. Does this qualify as HR analytics as well, or there's
You
more to
do
it?
get qualified, but the best part would be, Suketu, is start working from tomorrow in your organization. Tomorrow being the Monday, start collecting the data on the HR perspective. Have the goals in place. That's the best way I can say. So first is getting the cognitive knowledge. That is the aspect about the HR analytics. Start working in your organization, and then start analyzing the data. That's the best way I could say that. It will be too early to get the data, but I think you take the first step. That's very, very important. I know the smaller organization, they are not working on it and figuring it out. My suggestion is just start working out and start capturing the data based on the your organization requirements.
No,
So
so
that's the
we
only key.
so we have the data which is captured in our HRMS success
Hmm,
factor. So it's very
hmm, hmm,
established. One
hmm.
challenge is basically you had also mentioned it in your slide that the capability of collecting data, the quality of
Yeah.
data, incompleteness of data. A lot of these challenges are there. But even
Hmm,
that done, so basis that we kind of download reports and we do all those analysis. We integrate different functions of performance with
hmm, hmm,
motivation and a lot of these things.
hmm.
So that is there something beyond that? So that's called analytics
Very
as well.
much. We will talk about that. So
Okay.
in the future session, you will get to know how things getting used for staffing purpose, talent management, acquisition, employee engagement.
Fantastic.
So that's how it will be going on.
Sure.
Correct?
Thanks, Anuba.
Okay. So thank you so very much. Have a wonderful Sunday. And taking out today's evening time on the Sunday is truly appreciated by each one of you. So thank you so much. So let's get connected on the next Sunday now.
Yep.
Right?
Sure.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am.
you.
Thanks. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Anuba.
Bye.